Welcome back to our channel, Reverse Disease. It's time for us to start our journey together. Whether you're completely new to this or you're an experienced health enthusiast, we got you covered. Our goal is not to give you absolute answers, as that can be very individual to each one. Rather, we want to point you in the right direction. We're not your doctor or health physician, but we do want to broaden your understanding of how your body, health, and sickness very much is connected to food, nutrition, and lifestyle. We believe that it's the lack of this understanding that ultimately leads to sickness and disease. If you really think about the human body, it's a self-regulatory system. Every piece is already in place and ready to serve you. The only thing we have to do is maintain it and keep it healthy and strong. The question is, how do we achieve that? Rather than focusing on one thing alone, we want to find core principles and practices that not only gives us the most benefit, but also gives us a much better understanding so that everyone can take control over their own health. We can achieve this if we focus on the root cause instead of just looking at the symptoms. Once again, this channel was created for the people, by the people. Much of the internet is becoming more and more robotic and AI-driven. We only use AI minimally and when necessary. Every aspect beyond that is created by genuine and hardworking people with a real passion for health. We take pride in that, and we do not want to lose the human touch and effort. The information and knowledge discussed on this channel is always going to be real, honest, and helpful. Our focus is not monetary, but rather to spread the message, make a difference, and grow together with you. Let's get into it. Imagine sitting next to the hospital bed of your sick family member. Or maybe that person is you. It could be a kid suffering from cancer or a parent who just had a heart attack. Imagine the pain they would go through and the emotional pain and distress of seeing your loved ones in that position, and all you can feel is helplessness. 100 years ago, the risk of cancer showing up in your life was 1 in 20. Today, it's almost 2 out of every 3 people during their lifetime. 100 years ago, Alzheimer's and dementia were uncommon. Today, it's everywhere. Same with heart attacks, strokes, and the list goes on. Now, you might say that's because we didn't have modern-day healthcare and didn't keep records and statistics. And whilst there is some truth to that, it's far from the whole picture. And this is where the road parts into many different views. Some experts claim that we are nothing but monkeys that have evolved over millions of years, and that we are now in our most advanced and sophisticated form to date, continuously evolving, thus advocating for new technological advances. Others claim that we've lost our ways from our natural disposition created by God, and by reverting back to a balanced state, we can heal ourselves again, opting for a much more naturalistic approach. Depending on the stance, the solution and potential outcomes can be drastically different. Modern-day healthcare is all about pharmaceutical drugs, finding aggressive interventions, and controlling symptoms. However, the natural and holistic way is more about understanding the root cause and working with the body. There are pros and cons to both of these approaches living in the 21st century that needs to be looked into. The real question that inspired us to create this channel is, how can modern-day healthcare be the only solution when very little of it is focused on finding a cure and understanding the root cause, and so much of it is about controlling symptoms? It is a very dark and hopeless concept to think that there is nothing else that we can do about disease other than taking a pill or being operated on for something we are yet to understand the root cause of. With a rapid decline in health, we also see an increase in the burden put on healthcare and health workers. How did people treat diseases in the past, or were people just left to their own destinies? Well, it all depends on how you see it. If we were simply ignorant in the past, then modern-day healthcare makes all the sense. But if we've lost our ways, then there must be a way back. The idea here is that if you can get lost, then you can be found, just like a GPS. After all, the body is healing itself every day. Your wounds don't magically disappear. They heal through advanced processes inside the body. The ape theory is problematic in many ways. The same goes for the theory about our planet. It doesn't fully make sense to believe that we're nothing but the distant relatives of single-celled bacteria, and therefore we should just rely on synthetic pills for our survival and health. We clearly know that what the earth grows can be super nutritious and healthy. Our bodies are built from the same materials that occur naturally on the planet. So it makes very much sense to believe that this earth was designed to fully facilitate our needs, and that the answer might not be to find a magical pill, but rather truly understand how we interact with this world that we are already living in. Maybe that is the right way to go about this, especially as we live in a time where fast and processed food is rampant everywhere. So how did we end up like this? What makes us think that we as humans can reverse and heal disease naturally? Isn't that all part of life and aging? Isn't everything genetic and predetermined? Not really. The body's trying to heal itself 24/7 already. So what is stopping the body from healing in the presence of disease? And why? Now those are the real questions here. To better understand this, we first need to take a look back into history and study the people and civilizations that lived before us. After all, everything we see around us today is based on the past. And whilst they did not have microscopes in modern-day technology, they had different ways of understanding the world around them, their senses. For instance, through microscopes and testing, we can study the different compounds found in different foods. However, by studying history, we can clearly see that many people and civilizations in the past had a deep understanding of nutrition, from the benefits to the uses of different herbs for treating disease naturally. How? Good old trial and error and letting the body be the judge. If you go one step further, some claim through divine wisdom. Religion has played a huge role throughout history. To a great extent, we still eat in a way that resembles our ancestors. Our whole way of living is based on culture and old traditions. We didn't just arrive here 50 or 100 years ago, yet we rarely or never look back. For example, there was no real understanding of bacteria and microscopic organisms throughout history. And yet, fermenting food through the use of bacteria was common practice historically. How did they know? We are yet to understand how the pyramids were built thousands of years ago. Our current understanding of things is based on what we know. But what about the things we still don't know? Back in the 50s and 60s, doctors made commercials promoting smoking. Today we know better.
And because they know what a pleasure it is to smoke a mild, good-tasting cigarette, they're particular about the brand they choose. In a repeated national survey, doctors in all branches of medicine, doctors in all parts of the country were asked, "What cigarette do you smoke, doctor?" Once again, the brand named most was Camel. Yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
We should be open and try to see the bigger picture, instead of letting monetary gains control the narrative and how we act. After all, we are suffering, and our loved ones are suffering from diseases that could be avoided and healed. Perhaps that's why we're so incredibly confused and in disagreement about what we should eat for optimal health. And while there are many roads to Rome, we believe that we should try to find the common red thread. It's less about inventing and more about reconnecting. And so to think that our whole existence is simply by chance would be foolish. Just look at the complexity. There has to be a purpose, and there has to be a way to get some real answers. How can we have so many diseases and still not know what they are caused by? It doesn't make any sense. There is a missing link here. Everything in this world has a cause and effect. Everything. In the next coming episodes, we'll start to unpack all of this in the search for the optimal human diet and a healthy lifestyle free from disease. Please like, share, and subscribe. We would love to hear your comments and ideas below. Let's go.